Greetings from Underbrook. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Anne-Marie DeSimone.
And this is What You Wanted, What She Had. I'm doing my best. We also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time. How you doing, Anne-Marie?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I am doing fantastic.
I am wonderful. This is fantastic. Thanks for coming out, everyone.
I do wish I had an extra large green cupcake.
Seriously, what was that cupcake?
That was it was like the head of a cupcake monster or something. It might have been.
It may have
theory.
Been. Crazy theory. It's a head of a cupcake monster.
No, but we are coming here to you live, 8:30 p.m. EST on Wednesday nights at live.universebox.com. We have some stragglers are coming into the chat slowly but surely. We have Amanda and Amy P. and you, Anne Marie. That's you.
Hey, that's me.
Unseen Viewer and me and Chancer.
Ah, Chancer.
Who's the most important chatter of all. Mm-hmm. But if you want to hop in there, live.universebox.com. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. And you know what else we love to have, Anne-Marie?
What do we love to have here?
We love to have guests.
Guests, yay!
We absolutely love to have guests. And we've been having, this half season, we've been having a guest on every weekend. We've been trying to get like the deep cuts, the people who haven't been on in a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think we've accomplished that tonight because while he did appear on our old podcast, Universe Box, a lot, I don't think he's been on a Once show proper and since the Frozen days.
Not since Helgarita, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying.
Because he said it's in his shrine to our shows.
Well, I would throw to you to introduce the
but this is
the
your
guest.
dude.
Yeah, this is my old college roommate, Jason George. JG, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Yay!
Excellent.
How's it going tonight, guys?
Good.
Absolutely fantastic. Even more fantastic that you're with us, JG.
Well, thank you very much. What's up, chat room?
Before we get started in the main episode discussion, you want to give us like your quick 30 seconds or so on what you've been thinking about this half season so far?
Okay.
That sounds really encouraging.
Yeah,
yes,
I know. Listen, it's good, but here's the thing. I'm afraid that they're getting to the point where they're getting lost in their own stories a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm alone in that. I don't want you
You're
to
not.
think I'm totally hating on the show.
It's okay if you are.
Well, the show's still solid. It's still good, but it's kind of reminding me of what happened to the show Heroes after a while.
Yes.
Some things started, I started questioning some things. Some things seemed contradictory. Some powers just happen sometimes.
Yeah, I feel the same way about the show Small Wonder. It was just like that 5th season, she wasn't wearing the red dress anymore. It made no sense.
Right. But the thing of it is, it's still a good show.
Yeah.
It's still one I'm going to watch. It's still one that I DVR. But here's the problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I put other shows at a higher priority to watch. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen in the past, really. And I think the decline started slightly around the Frozen era, probably right around then.
I think that seems to be the point where it could have gone left or it could have gone right. And it, in fact, just went down.
Right. And but listen, I still think it's a good show. I still think it's entertaining. I still think it's great. I think the characters that are awesome are still awesome. It's still fun to watch. I think the show is still fun to watch. It's still got a lot of merit, but I worry that it's going to drown in its own universe. Its own, it's. When do new characters stop coming?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're going to go with the 6th season.
Yeah, it's going
to.
to.
We have covered so many different worlds. Whether just touching on them briefly or, digging on in.
Not to mention the main actors are probably getting a little antsy in their pantsy to, take on some new projects. Yeah.
Right. Well, even Robert Carlyle, he's done a movie through doing this. Hence, he's, hasn't been on as much.
Well, I think Carlisle's probably one of the most underrated actors I've ever seen.
Yep.
And honestly, I think that guy's, when this show ends... Oh, and probably currently, he's got a lot of options. If I were a guy making movies, I'd kind of want that guy.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really good. So, he's the type of actor that I could get concerned about because I could see him getting a lot of offers for great stuff.
Yeah. He's probably turned stuff down because of a contract.
Right. Or filming conflicts or, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's still decent. It's still good.
Yep.
In fact, decent's not even fair. It's still a great show.
Okay, well, why don't we get started talking about the episode proper?
Great idea.
Okay.
Excellent. So, Anne-Marie, why don't you get us started with the rhyming episode summary?
Okay. Wrong thing. Okay. We quickly find out Zelena knows Hades. They both have a plan for fairy tale babies. Speaking of babies, the Charmings haunt theirs. Belle catches Rumple sneaking up from downstairs. Henry can write now, isn't that sweet? Shame that it only works when he sleeps. If he had a brain, the Scarecrow could stay. A hellish pair canoodles in this, our Decay.
Our Decay! Our Decay! Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think one of the things that bothered me the most about this is it felt like a bunch of things that they've been... Like, this was Adam and Eddie Talk to the Audience episode. Mm-hmm. That's what this felt like. It was like, hey, stop trying to write our stories for us. Hey, we haven't forgot about the babies. Hey, here's Shady Shady Blue for 30 seconds. Like... Everything that people, go on and on about. Hey, here's Robin Hood, taking the lead on something. It kind of felt like a lot of that.
Yeah.
Felt like majorly forced fan service.
A little bit, yeah. Yep.
So, yeah. JG, what did you think about it overall, just in general?
Fun episode.
Fun. I like that.
But again, I see some problematic things. Mm-hmm. Okay. But I'm also seeing a problem that I think exists. It's not just in Once Upon a Time. It bear with me here a moment.
Okay.
I think it's a cultural thing, and let me explain what I mean. I think we're so into getting instant gratification with everything we do now that sometimes it's leaking into our stories, and stories are being rushed. Because this is not the only show that I've ever seen where suddenly, in one episode, these two characters had a miraculous love affair. Yeah. And it seemed kind of like pulled out of your rear end a little bit. Yeah. It's but see, there's a lot of shows that are doing that kind of thing right now. Not necessarily with just love interest, but like major character development stuff. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that watches The Walking Dead, for instance, but they've got a character on there who's been a total BA. Okay, yeah. I don't know what the rating is here for the show.
Yeah, that's about where we go.
Yeah, okay. That's the line. You're on the line.
But within 2 episodes, this character wanted to be not a killer anymore, and all of a sudden, it seems so rushed and it seems so forced. And I'm seeing the same thing with this show sometimes. Like, okay, why do Zelena and Hades they're in love? I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe you.
I call you out on that. No, yeah.
I mean, like you didn't do a very good job convincing me these two characters are in love with each other.
Thank you.
I mean, and that was my problem with the episode. Also, one other thing, I have to kind of wonder, and if I'm getting too far ahead, I have to kind of wonder why they did the Scarecrow that way.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to talk about the Scarecrow.
All right.
Here coming up in a little bit. I did just wanted to point out in the chat room, Unseen Viewer says, do you want to haunt a baby?
I love it.
Yes.
But I've got thoughts about that part as well.
Oh,
Excellent.
We have so many thoughts.
We all have thoughts.
There are lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and I want to get started with a little bit something I noticed kind of thematically that I think they might be building off as sort of a sibling or a season theme.
Okay.
And that's sibling rivalry. Okay, so I thought it was interesting, first of all, that with how much they kind of went back and forth during the early part of the season, that Hades' motivation is so similar to Captain Hook's. They both have perfect siblings that they feel like they'll never measure up to, and I thought that was really interesting. And just while we're on the topic, I just wanted to say that his motivation or him wanting revenge, was kind of dark and dastardly, but at the same time, Zeus sounds like kind of a jerk for like stopping his heart and everything. Like
That's right.
I mean, there probably has to be a reason.
I mean, it might be a god thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
He's also
Us
in the
mortals just don't
underworld.
understand.
Yeah, I'm not.
mortals just don't understand.
Yeah, get on that, Will Smith.
But I feel like Hades is insecure, like Rumple was saying, because his brother's the god of the gods, and so that has to take a hit to the old self-esteem. And I also thought it was interesting that we're reminded in this episode that Zelena also resents her sister.
In case anybody might have possibly forgotten that there's rivalry between Regina and Zelena.
Yeah, but it just feels like they
There
keep...
is?
I know.
Sorry, I'm being a smart aleck.
That's what we do.
But it definitely feels like this is something that they keep hitting over and over and over again, this sibling rivalry. So
Right.
I wonder if we're going to get more siblings being rivalrous moving forward.
Rivalrous?
Yes.
Wow.
What do you think, JJ?
I think that's a great point. I see it too. Does this mean that I don't know? I'm trying to think. What are the other sibling groups in the show? Do we have other sibling groups?
Let's see here. I'm thinking.
I mean,
we have David and James.
We have David and James. We haven't
who
got
are
much.
both in Underbrook right now.
Right. We
Okay,
really
there you
should
go.
have gotten that by now, because I think we made the joke last week that it was too expensive to have Josh Dallas talk to Josh Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But then, we got Mother Superior and Mother Superior.
Yeah, that's very true.
Briefly.
Maybe that was like their test run on the effect.
How is that a hard effect anymore? Like, I feel like that can't actually be that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does it. Everyone has an episode where somebody talks to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked to ourselves in mirrors and all sorts of things.
Speaking of talking to ourselves, we're not talking to ourselves. There's some stuff going on over in the chat room over here.
Okay.
Bobby says that Liam gave Hook a falsehood to look up to. Very true. Amanda says they had to explain why this Hades differs from the traditional one. I'm glad they're finally pointing out that Zeus is the true villain in the mythology.
Okay.
And let's see here. Anything else? An unseen viewer says, I had no idea that the Wicked Witch and the Evil Queen disliked each other. I thought they were gal pals. Gal pals.
Gal pals.
that's my type of comment. But I tell you, I really like the comment about Zeus being the villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, that's what all these shows do anymore to a degree, is that they take your expectations and they flip them. Not all, but seems like all the ones that you review anyway.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's a pretty common thing. I mean, the best example of it all, I think, would be Hook and Pan. I mean, now at the start, Hook wasn't exactly a good guy, but
He wasn't terrible.
a hell of a lot better than Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take much. Don't take much.
Right. So I don't think you would normally associate Peter Pan as the villain, but I think that's a very, very valid point that was made in the chat room. Who made that comment? What was the chat name?
Unseen viewer.
Unseen viewer. Props. Nice work. I never thought of it that way.
Okay, but Anne-Marie, you
Yes.
wanted to talk a little bit about Hades and Zelena, right? The new ship.
Oh.
Helena.
That's funny.
Or Zades.
Zades. Let's go with Zades.
Oh, I kind of liked Helena. Then over there, you could lead in the show with that My Chemical Romance song. I'm sorry.
Doesn't Helena Zades sound like the heroine from a 1940s detective novel?
Helena Zades.
Helena Zades, Private Eye.
Like the femme fatale from some kind of old noir. Like,
Yes.
I like it.
Okay, so Hades and his love of Zelena, in his romance that came about in one episode and 3 minutes about some papers in the last episode. I just have a really hard time believing all of his
correction from the chat room. Sorry, correction from the chat room real quick. It was Amanda's comment, not unseen viewer. Sorry, Amanda. Mucho apologencia.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, I apologize as well. I'm not in the chat room. I don't have a monitor. Good going, Bill and Anne-Marie. Way to drop the ball. Yeah.
Okay, but
And
sorry to
Unseen
interrupt
Viewer,
your point.
Much love to Unseen Viewer, but Amanda,
Amanda.
you get the gold star on this one.
Okay. So I don't believe a word that Hades says to Zelena. Even though he gets all choked up and talks more Shatner than Shatner in this episode, which was driving me absolutely bonkers. Like, I've enjoyed it for points throughout this half season. But this episode, it was like 2 seconds, and then 2 seconds, and then 2 seconds. Like, there was so much stuttering. It was driving me nuts. But it just seemed fake.
You know what I think?
What?
I think that in the flashback,
Yeah.
I think Hades actually did fall in love with Zelena. And then when she spurned him, he came up with this really convoluted plan that involved him pretending to love her, even though he had fallen out of love with her because she rejected him. So I think he loved her in the past, and it wasn't a trick in the past, and there was the potential there. But because she couldn't see someone being that, willing to give up the revenge, that he did this whole weird Underbrook sort of plan thing.
You know, I kind of have this meta problem with it.
Okay.
Like, let me explain. Like Anne-Marie, I don't believe him either. But here's the problem. Is it that that's what I'm doing as someone watching the story, or is it something I'm doing as someone trying to be a critic? Because
Yes.
is my problem with the fact that you're Hades, I don't believe you, or is it my problem, writers, you didn't do a good enough job of
Convincing
expressing this, because I don't believe it. And, am I supposed to? So I kind of have, that's what I mean. I've got a meta problem with this because as a story, looking at it from a storyteller's point of view, like I said earlier, it all seems rushed for one thing. So I think that's a big part of the problem. It's like we knew at the very end of the last episode that, Hades had something with her. Okay. But then it was just, you're the love of my life. That's like in one, I don't know. It's just, that's the issue I'm having here, is that I don't know if I'm supposed to believe him. That's poor on the writer's part, because you didn't make me believe him. If I'm not, then he's just a dirtbag. It's so weird. I'd been thinking about this all day. Like how do I put this into words? What my problem is? Am I explaining it well enough? Like, you get it?
I think,
Oh yeah, and it just definitely, like, especially for him to give up this, revenge on his brother who
so quickly,
did this to him like millennia ago or whatever. Like, it definitely feels really weird. Okay.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Here's
it's
my green
cool.
girl. We're good.
We did on Sunday night when we were live, or right after the episode aired, we did go ahead and put a poll up on Twitter asking you guys, is Hades telling the truth? 37% said yes, 21% said no, and 42%, an astonishing 42%, said I have no freaking clue.
Yeah.
So it is a fandom divided.
It is a fandom divided. And I mean, but most of our chat room, it seems, thinks that Hades is right or telling the truth. Like Bobby says, it was the first.
They want to believe.
They want to believe that it was the first time his heart had beat in ages. I can definitely see Hades falling at first sight. Amanda says it made total sense that his heart beating made him fall over on the bike. Everybody thinks Zelena is Persephone. So there's,
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't understand why he disappeared when she was dealing with Dorothy.
That drove me. I was like, this makes no sense.
I don't know why he just ran away right there.
Yeah.
Because Zelena was into it too, and that might have been just enough.
Too much.
Yeah, just enough for her to be like, okay, nah. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
It gave her a second to think about it.
Yeah, and if he wouldn't have disappeared, it might have. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the reason Underbrook is Storybrooke is because of Zelena thing? Like,
I still don't think that he was saving the baby just to save it from the heroes. He wants the baby for the curse. Earlier. Yeah, it's the same thing.
I don't know if I believe it. It's
seems a little too pat.
Maybe
Yeah,
we're just not
right.
as romantic enough anymore. Like all of these things that he could are
Anne-Marie.
grand gestures and
Oh, Anne-Marie, I am. You have no idea.
uh-oh. You're leaving rose petals to the bed, aren't you?
I've never done that because I'm worried about allergies and stuff. But like
It's practical.
you know, but like certain movies
Yeah.
that are on, sometimes I don't like to watch them with other people around because I may very well cry. So I like a good romance if it's a good romantic story, but I think I need more time with these characters to buy it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say something.
Okay.
Other than his Shatner-like speeches,
Yes.
I think the actor that's playing Hades is a pretty brilliant choice of casting.
Yes.
He definitely has a different tone to him than most of the other characters do, or actors do.
He's definitely got his own thing going on, and plus, it's another one of those inversions. Like, I would expect Hades to be some kind of like big, menacing, horrible-looking dude
With really good CGI blue hair.
Sure. You know it, man. You gotta have that CGI blue hair. But instead, he looks kind of like this shady, like, used car salesman guy. You know, he's a little creepy dude, you know?
Yeah.
Like, or like the guy who's, like, on stage at the Improv, you know, cracking jokes. He looks like that type of guy. He doesn't look like the guy who I would picture as Hades, and I like that. I think that's pretty interesting.
I will say a couple things over in the chat room. Amanda says the power of this show is the ability to shock us. I never know where they're heading with it. And she also said that the Decay moment made my little shipper heart flutter. So that's nice.
Okay, I gotta give her that speech and that line and using it as the episode title was pretty brilliant too.
Yeah,
because that's, you know.
There's definitely a case to be made, too, for Zelena and Hades ending up together. But I want to talk about that a little bit later. But, JG, you weren't able to get into the doc here very well. Did you have a point before we go to our break here?
I did not.
You did not?
My other points will be coming up in other topics.
Gotcha.
Excellent. That's fair. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and get over to our little break here to let you guys know about our Patreon. Anne-Marie, why don't you tell them about our Patreon?
Our Patreon over at patreon.com/universebox is just a way that you can help support our podcast, Greetings from Storybrooke, Legends of Gotham, and We're So Lost. Just a small monthly donation, whatever you can, shell out for us, starting at 10 cents. And you get all sorts of stuff like free books, songs, your very own podcast.
We do a monthly patron hangout, which is usually pretty pleasant. So
Usually.
Usually.
Sometimes people get a little energetic.
Yeah. Passionate.
That's the word. And if you go back and watch the one from the other day, we actually talked a lot about Bill's upcoming script.
Yes, Infinitina.
Yeah,
if you want to know all about that, go rewatch that. And yeah, I'm also, by the way, I'll just throw out here real quick, I am looking for beta readers before I start sending this out to studios and agencies and things like that. Yes. So if you want to read, it's basically... Short form is Quantum Leap in the Multiverse.
There you go.
So if you're that sounds like something you might be interested. You want to take about half an hour to read the script. Bill@universebox.com. Just email me. I'll send it right over to you. But our patrons, who a lot of them are beta readers.
They are.
They're always the first in line.
For all of that sort of stuff.
For all of that sort of stuff. And if you want to be the first in line, if you want to be one of the cool kids, one of the coolest of the cool kids, go over to patreon.com/universebox, where we currently have 28 people giving us $124 a month. That keeps dipping.
It does keep dipping.
But the weird thing is we got way more money than it said we were going to get. So I don't even know.
Don't call it out. Then the Patreon people will find out.
But we look bad. Because the numbers are weird.
Look bad.
But we're still getting the pledges. But if you want to be one of the cool kids, patreon.com/universebox. And remember to think outside.
Wow.
Okay, so let's see here.
Okay,
back to the discussion. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Zelena's redemption baby.
Oh, the redemption baby.
Yes. I really hope they don't go all the way with this. Zelena is one of the last characters left besides Pan who is well and truly evil.
Yep.
Not everybody needs a redemption arc.
No, I'm sick of the redemption arc.
I mean, I can see them, she had a baby. She realizes she's not the most important person in the world and everything. At the same time, I'm like, okay, the baby's important to her. Make that very clear, and then have her raise the kid to be evil or something,
Exactly.
Because that's what she would and should do.
But is she just evil because she was abandoned?
I don't know. There was a moment there where she was good, and she knew she was abandoned at that point, and then she became green and all that stuff. Season 3 flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I think at this point she is she's evil. Amy P does bring up there is Cruella too. So yeah. There's other.
There are some, but
there's some others, but it's still I love Rebecca Mader's character so much because she's so bad, and I feel like they're leaning her towards redemption arc just because the actress is so nice to the fandom and so connected with the fandom, and everybody loves the actress. So they're like, okay, well, we want to make people love the character now, but it's not the character,
Right.
Yeah, she was good in another show that you guys review too. So hey.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
We're so lost.
Coming soon.
Yep.
But JG, what do you think about this potential redemption arc? Are you okay with it, or are you sick to death of it like we are?
Okay, this is great. This is another one of those points that when I was reading the doc, I was like, oh, this was my exact same thought, only with a little slight variation.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered if that was going to be the point of this entire show. Like, at the end of the run, there will be no more villains because they've all redeemed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. While you're saying that, hold on. Amanda in the chat room says, I like that the villains are all multidimensional and have the ability to be redeemed. It's why I like the show.
Okay.
Like she said that literally seconds before.
JG,
it's the same thing.
JG, are you Amanda in the chat room? Because you guys keep having a lot of similar thoughts.
No, but Amanda, great minds, man, great minds. But no, it got me thinking. I was like, because again, I've been thinking about the podcast all day, even at work. I was thinking, well, what do I, what are my thoughts? And that's something that stuck out to me. I was like, wait a minute, is every character in this show that's a villain going to become good at some point? Because that's kind of the way they're going. And if so, is that on purpose or is it just happening by accident? Like when they started this show, when they wrote the pilot, where they're like, we're going to write a story about fairy tale characters, and by the end, no one's going to be a villain. I mean, because think about that. Other than her and Pan,
Cruella.
And Cruella, right. Well, hers is right there in the name. I mean, what's she going to be? Nice Ella?
Yeah.
But it's what is that what's going to happen? I mean, am I onto something or am I totally like crazy?
It's so possible.
See, like I definitely feel like they're heading there, or at least every character eventually heads there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get a redemption arc for the Blind Witch shortly.
But isn't it a perfectly?
Is she even that mean now?
Yeah, that's very true.
She memorized their order and brought it to them when they became regulars. She gave them advice. Like she hasn't done a mean thing since they've been there.
Well, but in these types of stories, ugly and weird means evil.
That's true. That's true. It's the funky eyes.
Unless of course, it's Beauty and the Beast, and that's the whole point. But he's not so bad. He just looks that way. He's just drawn that way. But I kind of wondered. But isn't that just a perfectly Disney thought, though? That every person has the capacity for good in them?
You know what would make me really like this idea is if they, over the course of the next season and a half or something, they eventually turn all the villains good, even the big baddies like Pan and Cruella.
And Shady Blue. No,
I was going to say.
Oh!
And then, once the villains are all redeemed and everything, Blue becomes the main villain. And, her evil plan is finally enacted with her henchman, Johanna, we could say.
Johanna did it!
Johanna did it. But yeah, I think that would be an interesting way to go. But the thing is, like, I don't feel like unless you do something like that, you can't have all these villains have their redemption arc this far out before the end of the show, because then there's no conflict in the show. Like
unless you keep adding more villains,
I guess,
which we seem to do about every half season.
Yeah. You know, we see new ones every half season. It seems, you know.
The villain for next season is the lion from Zootopia.
That's pretty much where we are. That's so pretty much where we are. And
the villain from next season is like the bad emotion from that Inside Out movie.
It's Bing Bong.
Played again by Richard Kind. I'd watch that.
Nice.
I would so watch that.
I'll buy that for $1. All right.
Nice. Well, you know, as long as we're kind of actually, let's see what's going on in the chat room here, real quick.
I don't know.
Anything fun? Shady blue. Okay, since we're talking about rewriting the entire series or rewriting the way the series is going to go anyway, why don't you, Amory? Why don't you talk a little bit to us about Henry's writing?
Okay, Henry and his drunk writing, which isn't really. I mean, seriously, it's like drunk dialing and drunk texting. Only he wakes up and suddenly there's a story in the book.
I don't know what happened.
I have no idea how it got there. I didn't pick it. It just happened.
I just got in the zone.
Every time Henry writes, he reminds me of that Keanu Reeves meme. It's like whoa, when you realize I'm sorry, that was.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, Mom. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so I think the drunk writing was fantastic.
# Bing Bong Big Bad.
Bing Bong Bing Bong.
From an unseen viewer.
Yes.
And Amy P brings up too drunk drawing as well,
drawing.
Or
exactly.
drunk photoshopping.
Oh yeah. Oh, I get to that.
Okay.
Let's see. We always saw the other author very consciously writing his pages and everything, but it was also stuff that he was altering, so maybe that's why. But Henry apparently just blacks out. Like, he just goes into emo teenager, blacks out, and appears with a story. And I enjoyed thoroughly that Henry was being the voice of Adam and Eddie. No, everyone is not the author. You don't get to pick the story. They pick the story.
I really enjoyed that too.
It was beautiful. It was like basically just being like, listen, go write your own fan fiction, but stop sending it to me.
You know what kind of confused me about that though?
What?
It's just he reacted like that when his moms were complimenting him.
But it was after Hook gave him crap for not writing the story they needed. Yeah, he was supposed to write the story about Hades, which I'm coming to this in a second.
Well, you know, you can have two of the most powerful sorceresses in the lands compliment you, but you get one troll in there.
One troll. All it takes is one troll. All it takes is one troll. But what I was sort of related to that, perhaps the author can only write things that recently happened or are currently happening. Because, you know, obviously the Hades thing happened way in the past. But what he did write about Baby Neil and the level 1 haunting and, you know, Snow having her oatmeal had just happened. So maybe it's like something ends and it suddenly, you know, he blacks out and writes a story and draws a story. I don't know. Maybe that's why he can't write the past stories because they've already been written.
Yeah, and I mean, there's all sorts of, teenagers disappearing to their rooms, things that I'm not even going to touch on here.
Oh, but, it's killing me. But, okay, one last thing.
I said knock next time, Mom, knock.
There's no doors. There's no doors. They're all in the apartment.
Did you see the sock on the doorknob?
There's a sock on the stairwell. So the moms are trying to be supportive. But they're kind of being a little offensive. The poor kid's trying to do what you're asking him to do. It's very well written. Oh, the pictures are lovely. Like,
Yeah.
they're not complimenting. They're being snarky to him. That's
Yeah.
why he huffs off
They're
and goes,
talking to him like he's a toddler.
yes. They're talking to him like he's baby Neil who hasn't aged.
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna hang it up on the fridge. It'll be
Oh,
nice.
that's
Yes!
Mickey Mouse. It totally doesn't look like just a bunch of squiggly lines.
Yes.
Nice work.
Yes. That's what it was. Like, I feel for Henry on that one.
If Henry's ever gonna grow as an author, he needs some real criticism.
You suck, kid. You're a bum. You're never gonna work in this town. Yeah,
Seriously,
there you
parents haunting their baby. What are you? This is never gonna sell.
go. Okay, that's the weirdest thing.
That's
Yeah.
so weird.
Like I thought it was really neat. The idea, the concept, mind you.
Yes.
It's like, but of all the ways they could have used that, they're like, hey, let's just have you guys talk to your infant. Why don't you sing him a little song?
Yes.
There's no way anybody will find this horrifying at all. That you're singing a lullaby to your son from basically hell.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, like, hey, don't worry about us, Neil. We're just in hell.
We're helping your sister rescue her dead boyfriend who has a
Sorry
hook
for scarring you, but
hand.
we just wanted to say hey.
But the thing is, like, they're all concerned about him feeling abandoned. He's one, though they're playing him like he's 6 months old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's the haunting thing. Like,
yeah.
really neat concept. Don't necessarily know why you had to have that particular phone booth to do it, but whatever.
Yeah. And
but-
Amanda... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But it's a neat concept. I just wish that I hope that it's not the last we see of haunting. Okay? And I hope that the next time it happens, it's not to an infant. That's weird. But, okay.
I hope it is an infant haunting somebody else.
Oh, my.
There's
But-
one thing you guys... Oh, I'm sorry. One thing I just want to say before I forget about it. If we get to the end of the show and there's something... if you have space, there's something that I've been dying to ask you guys about this show that wasn't in the doc. So, okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
Fair. Okay, what's going on in the chat room?
Okay,
Emily?
Amanda points out, and because this is something that me and her have both been very upset about, as well as many, many people in the world, that baby Neil should be at least 1 by now. And Ginny and Josh's kid was born at the same time and is almost 2. However, Snow Queen, Queens of Darkness, and Camelot, and the kid only aged about a week.
And Amy P says, still think level 1 haunting sounds like a video game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
100%.
I can buy that.
However, Amanda says, I wonder what a level 2 haunting would be.
But
Yeah.
babies and toddlers just age as the writers need them to.
I
most
know,
of
and
the
that's
time.
very annoying.
You know,
It is.
one thing
It
I
is.
thought was kind of interesting, speaking of the level 1 haunting stuff, and this isn't in my notes or anything, but the guy
Yeah.
they were asking questions about the haunting and stuff too. He said that he had been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Underbrook has been around exactly as long as Storybrooke. But I wonder what it was like before that. You know, I wonder what.
Exactly. These are the questions that we all have.
I'd like
Is
a
it
flash.
possible?
Oh, go ahead.
Is it possible that Underbrook is always there? They just can't see it.
That could be like it's a slightly different plane or something like that.
Yeah, just like a different plane of existence. You know, like in the comic books, you know, Professor Xavier could always travel to the astral plane. You know, it's like his body was still there, but his psyche was elsewhere. And is Underbrook like that? And by the way, I've been trying hard to figure out a joke. You know, I just made you say Underbrook. You know what I mean?
You know what? Maybe that's why all the characters from Fairy Tale Land are there, because when the Dark Curse happened, they all got pulled over to this Underbrook, this underworld version of Storybrooke, and that's where they've stayed since then, because they died in the Enchanted Forest. They were part of the curse that, you know.
Okay.
Right. Because maybe there could be a character that comes in, it's kind of like Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, that even when it's regular Storybrooke, like he's like, hey, there's your brother.
People.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
he's right over there. He's standing right beside you. Like, you know,
Nice.
because I see them everywhere. You know, like, I don't know. That was a thought I had, that I was like, is Underbrook completely different, or is it always there? You know, is it always, you know, right there under the surface, you know?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Do you have something from the chat room?
No, I was going to say, let me just jump to finish my other point because we've sort of already touched on it. Then you can go back to yours.
Okay.
It sort of leaves yours a little bit more open.
I apologize if I interrupted you, Anne-Marie.
No, you're good.
It's a free-flowing conversation.
This is a separate point. We just sort of got to most of it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just go here. It makes more sense where we're at. So the entire Snow and Charming becoming regulars at Granny's and feeling guilty all of a sudden about Baby Neil felt very shoved into the episode. Like, they had to acknowledge Baby Neil was in the nunnery nursery.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to bring him up in another point because check out the gun in the drawer. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this will help push the story forward to defeat Hades. Like, it gave the heroes a reason to continue pushing forward because they've done nothing. We found Hook like 3 episodes ago. Go home. Go home.
Well, they had their escape hatch kind of nailed shut.
Well, but it's not nailed shut because we also learned that Rumple's Dark One blood opens a portal because we needed another reason that we acknowledged like 6 different types of portals in the episode.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I mean, they even had Hades saying like, or they were talking about how, you know, how easy it was to make a portal now, where he could have used that back in the day or something like that.
So, but well, maybe it had to be in conjunction with something from Hades and blah 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 blah. But really, how are they going to defeat Hades? Like, he's Hades. He's the god of the underworld. I don't understand. Doesn't there kind of have to be a god of the underworld? It's sort of the mythology thing. He handles those people. But
or would he get replaced?
Will he get replaced? But then you're still replacing a bad guy with another bad guy?
Maybe.
Probably. It's the underworld.
I mean, most likely. Most likely.
I don't know.
But the underworld's not all like the underworld doesn't seem to me like to be the end bad place. You know, like they say.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can,
right.
It's kind of like the limbo. It's like in the middle, right? Like you could go other directions. So, you know, I think there's an argument that Hades should really probably just be neutral.
Okay.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like if you can go there and exit to a good place and a bad place,
then
well, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, he should be Switzerland, basically.
Right.
He should.
Right. Like just the guy, you know, tending house. Not really like, you know. But of course, I think he probably would like to see most of them go to the bad place. But you know.
Nice.
Just a thought.
What was that over in the chat room, Anne-Marie?
A couple things from the chat. Bobby said, when Hades said April 15th, I thought, did Zelena forget to do her taxes? Does the IRS have jurisdiction in Storybrooke?
Yeah, what's up with her birthday being tax day?
I had the same thought, Bobby.
I'm pretty sure that's around Rebecca Bader's real birthday. And I think that's why they used it, because they didn't have a day. And I think Amanda said, I think they'll defeat him the way they did all villains, by redeeming him.
Could be.
Plays into what we've been talking about.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rumple relationship and how it was approached in this episode. Okay, so I really liked that Rumple decided to finally get real with Belle. Like, and you know, the fact that when she shows up in the library there, that he confesses instantly instead of dragging this out. Oh, is Hades going to tell about this or whatever? Or is Emma going to tell Belle? Oh no, you know, 2 dates, 1 place, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm glad they kind of shut that down right away. And I feel like this scene said to me anyway that the Rumple pairing, the Rumple ship, is finally heading towards an honest, good relationship, because Rumple is finally being completely 150% straight up with her. Yeah. And now he just needs to convince her to be honest with herself, because Belle likes bad boys. Racy Lacey was closer to her true nature than, she has ever believed. Right. You know, because last half season when Rumple wasn't a man and a beast, as he says in this episode, she wanted nothing to do with him. She was just like, oh, that's nice, Rumple. I'm slowly breaking it off with you and everything. So, I think the sooner she admits to herself that she likes the beast as much as the man, the sooner they can, live happily ever after. And I just feel like they're going to end someplace good at the end of this half season. I know I've said that a billion times before, but this time I mean it.
This time you mean it. No, I really liked it. I thought it made sense. Yeah. It was probably one of the best conversations the two of them have had.
Yeah, I think your mic's out, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, it's not just me. Can you? I'm having a little trouble hearing you too. Okay, my mic's out then.
Oh, perfect.
Hold on.
I still can hear you, but you were a little quieter.
Well, that's fair. JG, why don't we hear what you have to say about Rumble in this episode while I try and fix Amory's mic?
Okay. I agree with you. I like that he instantly admitted everything and said, "Hey, this is the way it is. I got dark power. I like it. I'm never going to stop liking it. And if you like me, you have to accept that." It was great because it really subverted my expectations. I thought, oh no, Belle, I totally am not doing evil stuff. Like, even though he's not really doing evil, I don't know. That's his motives are always kind of ambiguous, or which side of the dark or the light he's on. But again, that's what makes him a fascinating character. But I liked it too because I like, how long can you play that on again, off again? Like,
right?
Like, because they're kind of like the Ross and Rachel of Once Upon a Time. Okay.
Yes.
Instead of we were on a break, it was I didn't have the dagger, or something. Like it was the fake. It was a real dagger.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that, and that got kind of I loved Friends, but that got tiring. Like I was like, just knock it off already. Everybody knows you're going to get married and be a couple and love each other forever. So just do it already, because there's no payoff. It's not worthwhile anymore. Like, we know. Okay.
Right.
So I agree with Bill, but I also kind of wonder though, like Belle is not, of the two, the one with the biggest capacity for evil is clearly Rumpelstiltskin.
Right.
But Belle is not completely innocent in this relationship. I think that, she has a tendency to have it be a destructive relationship on her side too, just because,
completely.
It's they both sort of toy with each other's emotions a little bit.
Yeah.
And
we were actually theorizing a couple weeks ago, what if Belle ends up actually just going bad? Like that would make the character way more interesting than she is now. If she just decided to, lean into the dark a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and then, how about the story if Rumpelstiltskin had to try to get her back to the side of light? That'd be interesting.
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
But let's just be honest. How much more of her are we going to get in this half season? Because she's just going to get more and more prego.
Very true.
Seeing as how she just had a baby a few weeks ago.
I will say over in the chat room, Amy P says, AKA the first time Rumple was ever honest with Belle, and Amanda says, only took about 30 years. I would argue that he was honest with her from the outset, and after she woke back up in Storybrooke is when he started being a little duplicitous. Like, he was very honest about who he was. He didn't try to hide the glitter skin from her. He didn't try to hide the darkness from her. And I think that's something that happened after they ended up, in Storybrooke and everything. Yeah. So just a thought.
Had something to do with the curse.
So okay, so I think that about
yes, Gigi had a thing to ask us though.
Well, here I was gonna do arbitrary scale first.
Okay,
so let's see here. Out of 14 dead phone booths. How many dead phone booths do you give this episode, Amory?
9.
Why?
It was all right. Wasn't exciting. Wasn't great. Wasn't phenomenal by any stretch of the imagination. So, 9.
9?
I don't know. I'm like I didn't really enjoy it.
Mhm.
And I know when you said that you enjoyed it more on your second watch through, I was like, okay. Usually when you enjoy something more the second time, so do I.
Mhm.
No.
Nope.
Nope, that did not happen, unfortunately.
It happens. Okay, JG, out of 14 dead phone booths, how many dead phone booths do you give this episode?
I think 9 sounds good for me too.
9 sounds
Uh,
good?
yeah, it was an episode of Once Upon a Time,
Yep.
so I enjoyed myself. Uh, but those issues I had that I've been discussing. Now, I must say something.
Mm-hmm.
The Hades Zelena relationship
Mm-hmm.
could eventually lead to a big payoff. So that my 9 that I'm giving right now, in the future, once I get more information, that could be adjusted. That might go up.
Kind of like how we did with Tallahassee, where we hated the episode at
We
first,
despised it.
and then went back, and it's why we started the whole haterade thing.
It is what started Haterade.
And then we went back and watched it, and we were like, "Oh, this was a great episode
Yeah.
because it sets up Neil and Emma so well."
Now, can I ask, why did you guys hate that episode so much in the
I
beginning?
can't remember. You'd
I
have
don't-
to
It's
visit
been
our.
so long, I can't recall.
Yeah.
I think it just wasn't what we were hoping it would be
Mm-hmm.
because we were so excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we got the typewriter reveal too?
No, the typewriter. That was the setup for the typewriter reveal.
Okay, because that just made us all sorts of
Over here in the
angry.
chat room, we have 10 dead phone booths from Amy P. I liked it, but not loved it. Unseen viewer, 10 dead phone booths. I still don't trust Hades. Bobby gives it 11 phone booths, dead phone booths. Thanks. And Amanda gives it 10 dead phone booths. It has some good parts, and I like the Hell Witch pairing. You know, one thing we didn't even discuss that I just want to bring up real
And
quick.
Liz gave it 9.
And Liz gives it
Yeah.
9. One, the Scarecrow
Yeah.
was probably the best CGI character they've ever done.
Yes.
Completely wasted.
Yes.
2,
Yep.
I really hated Dorothy. I really wish
What was the point?
they should have just brought the little girl back.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
You
But
know,
they probably couldn't.
well, they could have because it was supposed to be a few years later, so they could have brought back in like the whatever she is now, 17 or 18-year-old girl, and I think it would have been better.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree, Bill.
And how were the Munchkins communicating with Dorothy?
And how did
did they have a mail portal?
And how did they know to either? Because she, when she was in Oz the first time, all she did was hang out with a bunch of witches.
Right.
So yeah,
That's right.
Super weird. Okay, JG.
None of it made sense.
JG, you said you had something to ask us about the show before we let you go here.
I do. And
Okay.
if you've brought this up in the past on other podcasts and I just missed it, maybe I missed an episode somewhere or something, forgive me for asking this, but this is something I've been thinking about a good bit, and I'm dying to know what you guys think.
Okay.
Given the nature of the relationship between Robin Hood and Zelena, how comfortable are you with the fact that they have a child together?
Not very.
No,
Not
so
very.
much.
And yeah, this definitely came up a lot
Oh, yeah.
during the course of the pregnancy.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's super skeevy. Super skeevy.
It's exceptionally, but
Now, I will say this: it solidly puts Zelena in the villain slot.
yes.
Yes, very much so.
Because I don't know how familiar you are. Well, I know Anne-Marie, the Harry Potter story.
Yes.
Isn't that essentially what Tom Riddle's mother
Yes.
did to Tom Riddle's dad?
Yes.
Like, and that rubbed me the wrong way when I read that too, because
Yeah.
dudes, that's kind of rapey.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut out that kinda. That's pretty rapey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
exactly what it was. It was, false pretenses, which is, taking away the opportunity to say no, basically.
Right. And
They won't say yes to you, so you pretend to be someone else.
Now, it's not the fact that it happened that I find uncomfortable. It's the fact that nobody's making a deal about it in story. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Robin Hood's never like, Zelena totally raped me. Like,
Right.
you know, and no one thinks, oh my God, that's horrible. Like,
Right.
you know, you were taken against your will and you conceived a child with someone against your will. No one's bringing that up. And I find that problematic. You know, like it almost, because I think, you know, and I'm not trying to get into a philosophical, you know, sociological debate or anything, but I think that's one of the show's failings. I think that should have been addressed. I think that everybody should have been weirded out by that. Like, and I don't know. Like,
Well, I mean, I know that we definitely had a lot of very strong reactions to it when it happened from our listeners and everything. And yeah, I think it's criminal that. Well, I mean, I think what happened is criminal,
Right.
and I think it's a shame that they didn't address that in the show at all. But at the same time, I also think Zelena's dirty laundry list is so long at this point that in a lot of ways that's just another thing on it, and it's also just because of when the show airs, how the show airs, and everything. I can see why they don't address it head on, because it's not an 8 p.m. on Sunday night Wonderful World of Disney time slot kind of a topic.
Yeah.
So,
right, and it made me wonder because, you know, there have been rape scenes in Game of Thrones that were very, very, you know, panned by critics and and people gave up on that show. Now, keeping in mind, those were rapes you see as a viewer, or at least hear.
Right.
You don't see or hear this, but still, it's, you know, and even in Game of Thrones, it's considered an atrocity to do something like that. You know what I mean? So, like, men get their heads cut off for doing that. You know, but in this universe, it's like,
yeah.
you know, it just I just wish that the characters had acknowledged that, and now it's too late to do so. You know, without you know, it's like 5 hours later, like, you know, I'm really mad at you, like, well, over something you did 5 hours ago. You know, like so, but I also think that lends a little bit of credibility to, you know, maybe Zelena will be one of the villains that doesn't get a redemption arc, because there's no way to redeem that unless, I don't know, she totally apologized to Robin Hood and then maybe, I don't know, some other stuff. But one final thought before I let you go, and this won't take nearly as long.
Okay.
The whole podcast, since we've said redemption arc maybe about a half dozen times, the entire podcast I've had Redemption Song by Bob Marley going in my head. But as I sing it in my head, I take out song and put in arc. So,
Redemption arc.
Get on writing that parody, Bill.
I will. I'm already formulating. I'll have a lyric sheet to you by the end of the night, JG.
All right, and one more thing. Feel free to email me your script if you know. I know I'm not a patron, but
I know you can't have it. You can't have it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll be a patron one day.
Of course I will, JG. I'll email it to you right after. Do you want to tell people where they can follow you online and stuff?
Sure thing. I mean, you know, I'm on Facebook mostly. Just Jason George. That's me. I am on Twitter at JJasonGeorge. But I'm not really on there as much as I used to be, because usually if I'm on Twitter, it's for running this page my friends and I do. So, you know. But yeah, that's me.
Excellent.
And if you hop on MySpace, you can catch me there at around 2006. So,
nice. We will definitely do that as soon as we get the baby, the brain, the lion's tail, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, JG, thanks you so much, buddy. I am going to hang up on you now. Bye.
All right, thanks.
Wow, you really hung up on him.
Yep, I did. I always really hang up on people.
I know, but it was hard.
But thank you so much to my old college roommate, JG, for hopping in. Always a good time to have him on it. Now, on to the news. News. First up, the ratings. Let's see. Once Upon a Time got a 1.1. It managed to rise 1/10 of a point versus last week. So it's on an upswing from its series low.
Right. Well, there was actually... Am I still... No, I'm there. A whole bunch of different shows that rose about that. Hey, there I am. Versus the week before, which was Easter, which explains why a lot of shows had really low ratings. So
yeah. Oh yeah, and we have a YouTube comment addressing that coming up too here.
Okay, good.
Okay, so next up we have a preview for next week's episode called "Her Handsome Hero." Let's watch this right now.
Okie dokie.
So no one gets recast like Gaston.
Let's see. So we've recast Gaston.
Talks to Hades like Gaston.
Oh, that makes him even
Kisses
more.
Belle and turns into a rose like Gaston. He's in Underbrook and he shoots an arrow.
Okay. So wait. So we turned Gaston into a rose, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when the Belle went to Camelot and Rumple was under a sleeping curse type thing, Blue gave her a rose in a really big bell jar to take with her. That's
very
weird.
true.
That's weird.
Well, it was kind of, I think, just referencing that whole thing
I
from
know it was, but think about it. It's weird.
from the movie.
From the mirror.
From the movie. But if you want to check out the ratings, if you want to check out the trailer, check out the show notes, greetingsfromstorybrooke.com. Now it's time for our listener feedback. Next week, again, you don't have to run. You don't have to be in such a hurry. If you see a fiery portal to hell open up, don't grab a baby and jump in.
Do not grab a baby and jump to the portal to the underworld.
Chill out with Blue. Have some tea. Then email us, greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. Tweet us at JFStorybrooke. The Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And as usual, we're going to start off with Bobby. Take it away, Bobby.
Hey guys, it's Bobby. So this episode of Once was a bit of a mixed bag for me. While the whole Neil thing, Henry dream writing the pages and the Charmings singing a haunting lullaby to Neil, I thought that was all a bit lame. I actually rather liked the other elements of this episode. Oz is one of the few lands I feel like the effects department of the show haven't totally failed at, so I actually liked that.
Yeah.
Not to mention I've always been a fan of Wizard of Oz. It's a shame that the Once Upon a Time in spin-off format didn't last, because it would have been cool to maybe get a season in Oz with Dorothy and more of a backstory there. But what I really liked about this episode was I thought they did a good job of explaining why Hades fell for Zelena so quick and how he relates to her so well. I thought that all played rather well. But I also really liked that Zelena can't feel love because she doesn't love herself. And if you can't love yourself, then how can you believe that anyone else can love you? So I thought that also played well. But what I really liked was Rumple's, Rumple coming clean to Belle. I really loved that scene. I know everyone's always called Belle stupid or, why can't this just end or whatever. But I agree with what Rumple said, that in my opinion anyway. I'm not going to say I'm necessarily on Rumple's side, but, if he can be a better man and still have power, what's wrong with that? That's how I feel about that. So as far as a scale, I'll say out of a scale of 24 loose pieces of straw from the Scarecrow. That's the only thing I could think of. Did I say 24? Okay, so out of 24, I'll say 20. Not to say, 20. There were plenty of faults in this episode, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And definitely the CGI for the Scarecrow was
some of the best.
Where are they hiding that animator? Put him on everything you do on this show, because it was an awesome job all the way around in both scenes. Yeah. A well lit scene, a dark scene. Yeah. He looked good in both of them. So, that's hard to do. So, very, very good job, animator, whoever you are. Okay, next up is Amanda. Take it away, Amanda.
Hey, guys. My name's Amanda. I'm a first-time caller, but I've been listening for a few weeks on my commute home. It's been a godsend having somebody in the car to have that conversation with about the show that I'm obsessed with. So thank you for that. About this week's episode, I really liked the Hades and Zelena storyline, especially because I've really come to like Zelena ever since I got to meet her at a fan event, Rebecca Mader, where she was just wonderful and funny and sweet and charming, and I'm really glad that they're bringing her back. And I think that this is their way of going back to the original Greek mythology, which is something I was really hoping they would do. I think that this is their way of bringing Hades back to that benevolent leader that he always was in the original stories, the way that they brought Frozen back to its roots by introducing the Snow Queen and the Spell of Shattered Sight. And I think that the baby's name is going to be Persephone, and I think that she is going to be the connection between the over and underworld. I think she'll spend half of her time with her mother in the underworld and half with her father in the overworld.
I like that.
I'm really excited for where this is going, and I hope you guys are too. My arbitrary scale is going to be 10 unaged babies who should be older. Yes, Neil, I'm talking about him. And I would give this episode 7 unaged babies. So thank you very much. I hope to be part of the chat room this week, and I will catch you then. Thank you very much.
And you have been part of it. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Definitely. And yeah, I like that idea of the baby being like the...
Persephone.
Yeah, being Persephone and being like kind of the gateway between the over and the underworld. It reminds me a lot of a... this is so lame, but in the Marvel...
This looks good, then.
The Marvel versus DC comic book they did back in the 90s, there was a character called Access that existed in both universes. So that could be fun. I like that idea a lot.
Interesting.
Okay, so let's see here. Next up is Michael. Take it away, Michael.
Hey, Bill and Anne-Marie. It's Michael.
Hey.
So, our Decay. Is it just me, or is this the perfect title for this episode and the perfect comment on the show as a whole? Halfway through watching last night, I nearly gave up and didn't finish the episode. Wow. And I know y'all have had your share of haterade episodes, and I guess I have too, but this is hands down the absolute nadir of this show. There's not a single character I find interesting anymore, and there are so few remaining that I even like. First off, Belle. I guess they've forgotten her whole character premise that she sees the good in everyone, because she acted all horrified at a deal Rumple had made hundreds of years before meeting her. She has to have known that he's got several skeletons in his closet, any one of which might have come up and forced them to deal with it together. Now, of course, this is before she learns about his newest treachery, so for all she knows at this point, the man she's reacting to in horror is still hero Rumple. Of course, past that point, I absolutely sympathize with her reaction. Rumple, who used to be my favorite character, I don't know, I've pretty much given up on him. At this point, his unapologetic, revisionist, power-loving ways are just annoying. And Regina, who used to be the evil queen, is now this self-righteous person who denies that Zelena can never change. If anything, she should be quicker to trust her than anyone and believe that she can have her redemption. Not to mention Robin Hood's one-note performance of complete bafflement at what honestly aren't any more unusual events that typically happen in this show. The Charmings are surprisingly the closest thing I have now to interesting characters, and that's only because they're not as downright annoying as others. But what was up with their arc here? Not only is the idea of a telephone booth haunting a little bizarre, it's also completely off-screen. We don't even see it. And not only that, the payoff is not even shown. We're just told about it through Henry's book. Man, I can't even. And finally, Hades and Zelena. It's interesting. This could have been a really great story. It reminds me of a line in Anais Mitchell's folk opera, Hadestown, which you all should definitely listen to. It's amazing. In the song Epic Part 2, when Orpheus sings about Hades seeing Persephone for the first time, there's this amazing line, "Suddenly Hades was only a man with the taste of nectar upon his lips." That always gives me goosebumps. And compared to that, we have this horribly performed romance with less than zero chemistry. I could take or leave the actor who plays Hades, but the least they could have done is cast someone who has chemistry with Rebecca Mader, which leads me to believe that maybe they didn't even foresee this subplot at all when they started writing this half season, which, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't think I have any intelligent takeaway here, and honestly, I don't know if there is any to be taken away, but if there is, I'm sure you all will find it. All right.
Thank you. It was just about over, but I'm worried about that cat in the background.
Feed the cat, Michael.
I think the cat has been nipping at Michael's haterade and has been infected with the haterade. But thank you very much, Michael.
Yes, thank you.
You know, we haven't been shy about the fact that this half season hasn't been our favorite at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, but don't take it out on the cat, man.
Leave the cat alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
completely
Okay.
agree.
And last but not least, we have a message from Jessica, who sent this in last week, but not in time. So this might be a little outdated, but we'll go ahead and play it anyway.
Hi, Bill and Anne Marie. My name is Jessica, and I have a theory for you. Since I saw the promo for next week's episode, I was thinking that maybe Hades and Zelena was a couple, and
You were right.
Hades knew that Zelena was jealous of Regina,
Yes.
so he wanted to help her since he loved her. So that's why he knew about the curse. He created the curse and gave it to Rumple, had Regina cast it, and made the underworld look like Storybrooke, so that when Zelena dies, she could rule the underworld just like Regina ruled Storybrooke. So.
Whoa.
Jessica, are you a writer, Jessica?
Jessica, that isn't because we literally got this I think I got it last Thursday morning, like right after we recorded the show, which is why we didn't play it. Jessica, fantastic job. A round of applause. She predicted the entire episode. That's pretty incredible.
Including specifics.
Yeah, I know. Very specific.
She's a writer.
The only thing we don't know for sure is if Hades created the dark curse, right?
Right.
Out of everything she said. Mm-hmm. So very good, very good. Okay, you want to read this letter from Ash, and we'll go ahead and get wrapped up here.
Hey, Anne and Bill, happy belated Easter. I hope you and yours had a good one, however you celebrated. I wonder if Peter Cottontail is related to Percy, the White Rabbit in Wonderland. Maybe. Speaking of hunts for and hunters of things, hums witch hunters from the Wiccan soundtrack. Dorothy being epic, and Toto too for the win. I'm skipping stage directions. And trouble is this brewing as per usual. Well, least it's not a green twister portal. And yes, Belle, use those brains. Haunting. And yes, Charming's breath would fetch a pretty penny, I wager down there. Yes, Henry, everyone's a critic. Stress and pressure does not help the writing process or great writing make gang. I'm sure Bill knows that really well. Yes. Bonding over sibling stuff, and a curse. Interesting, very interesting. And you go and tell him, Robin, you find your baby girl. About time true confession sessions. You tell him, Belle, that's our brave girl. Yes, Charming, sing! Man, truth bombs are dropping everywhere. Wow, an honest giggle, a sound I thought I never would hear. And Robin with a wee baby. Sweet Pea. Do you think they'll call her Sweet Pea? This is me.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because she was called Sweet Pea numerous times. Mm-hmm. I really think they need to lean into Pistachio, but that's okay.
I still think it's weird they haven't named the baby yet.
Because he doesn't know her. You abandoned her to go to the underworld.
Oh, I don't know her. Oh, Hades can do stuff with names. Oh, my pen's broke. I can't fill out the paperwork, so I'm just going to wait.
I don't even know where I was. Zelena learning the underworld must be getting very, very cold. And yes, no, that a girl. Was getting odd feelings about Hades and Zelena. What is this feeling? So sudden and new. And on this note, giving this 1 7.5 tipped over bicycles out of 10. Cheers and hugs, Ash.
Those are always hard. And to wrap up, we have a comment here from Matt C. Thank you very much, though,
Thank
Ash.
you, Ash.
Keep in mind that this episode, because we were talking about the low ratings last week, and he says, keep in mind this episode aired on Easter Sunday, and if you look at the ratings for all of that Sunday, everything was lower. ABC's press release even stated that all of their Easter Sunday programming will be coded under special and not counted in the season averages. So this coming episode could tick back up a little or stay even. It ticked back up just a little.
About 7 people.
So thank you guys so much for writing in. As always, when you get done watching the episode next week, again, avoid the flaming pit to hell because there's snow down there, and you don't want to see the snow in hell. It's bad. Instead, just wait a second, but by Wednesday night, email us, greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. Tweet us at GFStorybrooke. The Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And Anne-Marie, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AMDSimone.
At AMDSimone. Oh, aren't you resurrecting Crunchy Crafty?
I am making a slight effort to resurrect crunchycrafty.com. So if you like recipes and crafts and reviews of things, go over there and check it out.
What's the address?
Crunchycrafty.com. I said it 3 times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay.
So crunchycrafty.com.
And as for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. You can follow all of the podcasts we do at universebox.com. And like I said, I have a TV pilot that I want to get some beta readers on before I start sending it out. If you're interested in Infinite Tina, email me bill@universebox.com and I'll hook you up with a copy. All right, I guess that about does it for this week. Again, thank you to our chat room.
Thank you, chat room.
We love you. You guys are the best. Absolutely. Thanks again to my old college roommate, Jason George. Who, again, is also the best. I mean, just objectively the best. Just objectively the best. So I guess that about does it. Until next time, greetings from Underbrook. I did it. We did it. We did it. Here, and we just want to go ahead and get your, because we have a lot of episode titles this week.
Options, yes.
Title options. I'll put this in the chat room. And I'll also put it up on the screen here. Yeah, we have the Munchkin Persuasion, Two Blue, Sibling Rivalry, Zelena's Pocket Sand. Don't ignore that one. It's lame. Snow and Hell, Mortals Just Don't Understand, and Helena's 80s.
See, Mortals Just Don't Understand is really good, too.
See, Mortals Just Don't Understand and Helena's 80s are kind of my favorites.
Yeah.
So we'll wait. Bobby says Sibling Rivalry. So we have one for Sibling.
Munchkin.
Mortals, Munchkin, or Helena.
You know, I almost like that as the title. Mortals, Munchkins, and Helena.
So I think since no one else is going to vote for...
Oh, they'll vote. Give them a second.
Mortals Just Don't Understand. That's two for Mortals.
Mortals Just Don't Understand. Boop, boop, boop.
All right, let's see here. We'll see if...
Mortals.
Unseen Viewer says Helena's 80s.
Bobby says or Mortals.
Or Mortals. Okay, I guess that does it. Mortals Just Don't Understand. That's very true. Brought to you by your best friend, Helena's 80s. But thank you very much, guys. It's a blast as always. We'll see you next week. Bye. We love you.